Welcome to the Heavenly Treasury broadcast where we help believers achieve God's financial abundance for your life. I'm your host, Ron Turbo, author of the Heavenly Treasury series on biblical finance, coming to you with some great content today. Hopefully, it's going to help you achieve your calling and whatever you have been, whatever you desire to achieve with your life and what you'd like to do with it as well. And how many people you want to help, how many people you want to see succeed to the best they possibly can. So that's what we do here. And so we come to you with a very different perspective when it comes to your finances. And I'm not talking about just how much you make, how much you earn, how much you spend, doing all this. I earn this, I spend this, all. We don't do that here, okay? We do to an extent, but not really, okay? And what do I mean by that? There's so much more to your success and your outlook when it comes to your finances than just how much you make, how much you spend, and doing a spreadsheet and figuring out the difference and what to do with it, okay? There's a lot more to it, and that's what we come to here today because we focus on financial increase here. And why do we do that? Because most other folks aren't, okay? And there's a lot to that, but when it comes to God and how God wants you to achieve all that you've been called to achieve, there's a lot more to this than you've been told. And again, I'm not a minister here. I'm a businessman. I'm in the private marketplace, and I know what's worked and what hasn't worked. What I'm here to do for you is to help you, show you avenues and methods that you can use today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not 5 hours from now, but today and right now, okay? And so what are we doing about that, right? So today we're going to be talking about how wisdom and ownership is going to help you succeed in the marketplace, okay? So just think about this for a second. If you're at a job right now, just think about your production and what you're offering to whoever you're working for. It could be, you're working for a hospital, you're working for a car mechanic shop, you're working for the government, state, local government, federal government, whatever that is, okay? What sort of value are you bringing to them? Is it good value? Is it bad value? And here's the thing. If you increased your value at your job, all right, and doubled your value, is your paycheck going to double? Is what you receive every 2 weeks going to double? Likely not. So what do we have to do differently? That's what we talk about here. Because what we focus on here is being in an ownership position in the economy. Whatever economy that is, the economy of the Congo, the economy of Russia, the economy of Hungary, whatever it is, the economy of Brazil, whatever that is, okay? That's this works everywhere. There's nowhere in the Bible that it says, well, if thou art in the promised land, then thou wilt make money. No. All right? Now, again, the Israelites themselves had a promised land that was theirs. And you do too. But there isn't some geographic circle on the map of planet Earth that says, you know what? You're going to only succeed if you're here. No. Now, God does have a promised land for you, and it's a very different promised land than what you probably think about in the Bible. And that's okay. That's okay. We're going to help you find that here. Because wherever God wants you to do and wherever God wants you to be, that's where you're going to be able to achieve the best that you can financially. Now, again, I'm not saying that you have to be a believer in order to get rich. There's plenty of rich people that aren't believers. I'm sure you can name a few. In fact, some people are so rich that they use their money to just do as much bad in your country and your town and your city as they possibly could. That's very difficult to hear a lot of times because you may think about, well, who are the people that are influencing our society? Are they believers? No, they're not. Sorry, they're not. So from that perspective, how do we get somebody who is a believer into that sphere of influence? Well, that's where money comes in. And so money is, from our perspective, is a lot more than just the abundant life that you would like to live. And that's okay. If you're not there yet, you will get there. But once you get there, I don't want you to stop. Because you need to not only have an abundant life for you, you need to show that abundant life to other folks so they want to have it. Why? Because a lot of the things that we talk about money from a biblical perspective isn't really helpful to a lot of folks. It doesn't connect well. It doesn't. If you're in a place where your fund budget every month is a couple of bucks, people don't want that life. Sorry, they don't. So we're going to have to do things a little bit differently here. We are. All right. And so we do, from my perspective, there's a lot of different folks when it comes to their spending habits. And again, I don't want to get down this rabbit hole today, but I know it's very important for a lot of you. Some folks are just very liberal with their spending, and that's okay. They don't know anything about it. They have no idea what's in their account. They don't never check it. They don't check it credit card statements or debit card statements or bank statements or anything. And then there's the other side, which has the spreadsheet of I'm spending this on this. I can't go over it under any circumstance. Okay. If you're in either one of those two camps, there's improvements to make. And for me, I was in the latter. I was the guy who did the spreadsheets every single month. Again, I still do, but I don't live by them. They're not something that's very rigid for me because, again, if you're one of those folks, God's going to blow that up at some point. When he's ready to take you to the next level, God's going to blow that up. He is. Sorry, but he is. Okay? You can't just do that and just spend and just live your life on a spreadsheet. I used to do that way, and it drove me nuts. It drove my wife nuts. And thank God she has a ton of patience with me. And it's very, very helpful, and I'm very blessed to be able to have that. I hope you do too. Okay? So for today, what we're going to talk about is how wisdom can really improve our lot in life, improve where we're at, but also understanding that there is a path that you have to be on for wisdom to be able to help grow you financially. Because remember, I started this out by saying, if you doubled your value at your job, would your paycheck double? The answer is no, it's not, because you're working somebody else's field. Okay, and from a biblical perspective, people, again, most folks who are rich were landowners. And so the people that worked for them were working their field. And God would bring rain onto the owner's land, and the owner's land would be blessed. So guess who got the fruit of all that labor if the worker's value doubled in that perspective? The owner, who isn't doing anything laborious-wise when it comes to working the field. He's doing other work, don't get me wrong, but he's not the one planting the crops. So if you're doing the work for somebody else's field, you can't double your paycheck and double your income if your value doubles. That's why it's so important. It's not just a mindset. Again, when I think about how people right now go about trying to increase their income, a lot of the times they'll go to a seminar of some sort, and that's okay. I've been to plenty of them. I'm not discounting them whatsoever. And you're gonna come out, you're gonna get really fired up, you're gonna get really motivated, and you're gonna go back, and people are gonna think, what's different about you for a period of time. Okay, you filled your gas tank. Well, guess what? Eventually, that gas tank's gonna run out, and what do you have left? You didn't increase your skill set, and you're still working the same job, and you're in the same place 3 months from now. You're gonna go to another seminar, and nothing's gonna change. That's a problem. Okay? So there's really 3 avenues that you have to improve in order to improve your income. Number 1 is your mindset, which again, those seminars will certainly help you. Not discounting them whatsoever because they are vital, but they are not everything. Let me make that clear. Mindset is not everything. And that's going to disagree with a lot of folks, and that's okay. Okay? I understand that, because if you have a great mindset and you're the perfect person on planet Earth, but you're working at a toll booth, I don't care how much your value increases, your income's not increasing. Okay? Number 2 is a skill set. You have to increase your mindset. You also have to increase your skill set. Okay? All right. So if you can pop out 5 widgets in an hour, you get paid something. If you can now pop out 15 because you improve the processes, you improve your skill set, well, that's going to make you more valuable and your income's going to increase. Number 3 is where we like to focus here on this broadcast, which is your avenue, your income generating avenue. Okay? We want to get you on a place where when your skill set doubles and your wisdom doubles, your income will also double. Okay? That has happened to me on multiple occasions throughout my life. It has. And literally, I kid you not, when I was just graduating from grad school and I was just leaving, getting my master's in mechanical engineering from Vanderbilt University, okay? Wonderful school, love them to death. All right, putting the football win aside a couple of weeks ago, which was awesome, okay? But putting that aside, when I left there, I went to go work at a job. I had an employer, and my employer was paying me something, okay? They were paying me a decent starting salary for somebody graduating college, more than most people, okay? Wasn't a doctor, but I also wasn't a philosophy major. So you can just kind of take your guess at what I was earning. Did that for about 1.5 years, and then they fired me, all right? 2 months later, I had the exact same skill set. I had the exact same mindset. maybe a little bit of an improvement of a mindset, because again, anytime you're fired from a job, it really makes you look in the mirror in different ways. Because for some people, when you get fired, most of the time you're looking in the mirror and saying, what did I do wrong? That's a lot of times what happens. And when you figure out and look in that mirror what I did wrong, then you sort of correct that. And when you've corrected that, now your mindset's improved, your skill set's there, and now you can go earn some more money somewhere else. Okay, that happens to a lot of folks. At the same time, sometimes you do have to prove yourself at your next position, because if you just got fired. Okay, so I mean that just happened to me earlier this year is really what that went down for me. Okay, but putting all that aside, when I stepped back from that job that I was just coming out of grad school for, I worked there for a year and a half, got fired. Literally 2 months later, I changed the avenue and how I was generating income. No change in my mindset, maybe a little bit. No change in my skill set whatsoever, but my income literally doubled. And yours can too, because people skills pay the best. They do, especially when you combine that with a physical labor skill set. That's where you can start making some nice chunk of change. And that's what you like to focus on here. Because again, if you're a roofer and you're working for a roofing company and your skill set doubles, meaning you can improve efficiencies, you can fix holes that other people can't, all right? Well, guess what? If you're working for somebody else, who gets the credit for all that? The owner of the company. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be, okay? And so I found this. Let me see if I can open this up here, okay? Let's see here. Save. Yeah, I'll just show you what I'm doing here in just a moment. All right, here we go. I want to show you this that I found the other day. If I can do a job in 30 minutes, it's because I spent 10 years learning how to do that in 30 minutes. You owe me for the years, not the minutes. This is what wisdom is going to do for you. This is what wisdom is going to do. But here's the key. If you're not in the right avenue, no matter how well you do this, you're still going to get paid the same. Okay? You're still going to get paid the same. That's a problem for you. That's why we want to get you in an ownership position or a labor position in the economy. Now, a laborer is where you do the same skill set that you're currently doing right now. Your owner is you. Your owner is you. And that's the way we like to transition people. If you are in a job and you've never had an entrepreneurial skill set, you never had an entrepreneurial opportunity of any sort, that's what I recommend. Because if you go from being an employee for 20 years and then just drop hat, do nothing else, and just drop into entrepreneurship, it's going to be, you're going to have some training wheels that are going to come off a lot sooner. Okay? And that's a problem that you're going to go through. But if you do survive, things are going to look very, very rosy on the other end. So there is a bright side to that as well. But I do want to focus on this right here. And this is where wisdom can come in. Because God tells us very, very clearly that if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Okay? That's what we can do with the Lord. And that's how God can help you. Okay? When it comes to God and your finances, He wants to help you. But it is not something where He's going to do it for you. Let me make that clear. That's where this comes in. God is there to help you. He's not there to do it for you. Because if you're not going to do it for yourself, again, biblical finance is where you do your part and God brings the rain. You work your land, God brings the rain. Even if you're working in the same land as 15 other people, all competing in the same space, but you're the one blessed by God with the skill sets that He's given you, and you work them to the best, He will bring rain on just your land. And all your other competitors will be like, what the heck is going on with this guy? He'll give you supernatural opportunities for you to succeed. He will. So that's what we focus on here, is putting you in a position to let God do His job. That way you can get the rain from heaven. That's what the goal is, to get you in the right place with the right skill set, in the right avenue, with the right opportunity, and that's where you can increase. Now, what is that for you? It's very different from everybody. Okay, what my avenue is going to be very different from what your avenue is. Why? Because we are not created the same. We're unique. Some of you may be watching this from India right now. You have a very different culture than I do. You have a very different time zone, different economy. I mean, the principle is still the same, but how you go about doing that may be a little bit different. And that's okay, because God's law works everywhere. I don't care if your ruler is a dictator. I don't care if your ruler is Jesus himself. I don't care if your ruler is your style of government is an authoritarian. I don't care if your style of government is a democracy or a republic, whatever that is. It's still going to work for you. And we'll have a lot to say about that in a couple of weeks, because I know this is election time, okay? And we don't really talk politics here, because as you'll find out in a couple of weeks when I do that broadcast on Election Day, which you're definitely not going to want to miss, you will find out that it doesn't matter who the president is. Your path with God is not going to change. Your assignment with God is not going to change. I'm not saying there aren't believers who are affected by that, but no, you'll find that very, very shortly. And it's going to shock you beyond belief, and hopefully it'll give you a lot better perspective about how you can go about your daily business working your life. Okay? All right? But putting that aside, you're going to find right here that we want to get you in the right path for God to bless you. That's what we focus on here. And why do we do that? Because it's an ownership economy. We want to have you being an owner. That's where the big bucks are going to come in. All right? I don't care how well you do at your job. You're not going to get promoted the same way that God can promote you. Your boss is not going to promote you the same way that God can promote you. God can promote you around a lot of people if you're ready for it. If you're ready for it. Okay? But you have to be ready. You have to submit. You have to be humble. You have to work. And you have to seek him in all that you do. And again, I have a great video on my broadcast channel, on my YouTube channel. Link is in the description below. If you go there and search for Stuck in a Job, here's how God can help. That video, that will help you get out of your job if you are serious about getting out of your job. Because a lot of people are not serious. Even though you say you are, you really aren't. And this is why I get back to the very beginning when I talked about the people who are savers versus the people who are spenders. I'm talking about that because if you're the saver and you're the one with the spreadsheets and you're living your life by that, and you're saying, well, I know exactly what's going to come in, therefore I can just allocate everything that I would like, and I'll live my life, and over a certain period of time, we'll go ahead and get out of debt or save enough money or invest if my returns are 10% a year, 8% a year, 20% a year, whatever that is. All right, and then by that time, my calculations are correct and projected in the future. In 18 months, I'll do X, Y, Z. If that gave you a headache right now, it gave me a headache just saying it. Because I will certainly tell you this. If that's you right now, you are not ready for a labor economy. You're not ready for an ownership economy. Your income's not going to increase very well. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not. Why? Because you're working somebody else's field. And more importantly, your reliance is not on God. It's on that income. It's on the income and the stability that it's going to provide. Because you want that mental stability going forward. And especially if you're the leader of a household, listen, you're going to keep falling behind. Okay? So, we talk about inflation quite a bit here. Inflation, historically, even as bad as it's been in the past few years, historically speaking, it's been about 8 to 10, 12%. So every single year, if you have a job, you have to get 10% a year to make just to break even from the inflation from the previous 12 months. Can you do that with a job? No. Can you do that with ownership? Yes. That's why we focus on it here. And that's what I'm going to have for you. Because I need you to get focused on being in an ownership position, because that's where God can download the wisdom for you to get to reap the rewards. Okay? Because think about this. If you're in a job right now and God gives you a piece of wisdom that's going to significantly help the owner of that company, well, that's awesome. All right? But does God want to bless the owner, or does God want to bless you? What if your owner is cheating on his wife? Then if God gives you a download at your job, your owner, who is now cheating on his wife, violating one of the 10 commandments, is now going to get a massive financial blessing because of God. And is that going to help the kingdom? No, it's not. So there's a lot of great reasons why you need to leave the employment economy and get into the ownership and labor economy. And we help you do that here. We help you do that. Okay? We are not a place where we just give you philosophical things where you feel good and go out and 3 months later, your life is the same. No, I give you specific steps outlined in that Stuck in Your Job, Here's How God Can Help video. It's 3 minutes long. You do everything in there, and I promise you 12 months from now, your income is going to significantly increase if you're in a job right now. Okay, so if that's you right now, that's where you need to be. That's where you need to go, and that's okay. So that's what we want to focus on there. All right. But today, really, I want to highlight the fact that, if you have that income and you have that wisdom, well, here's the thing. Let's go back to this. If you're in a job right now and you do the job in 30 minutes as opposed to 8 hours, well, you still have to be there for 8 hours because your boss says you have to be there for 8 hours. Okay? If you're in an ownership economy, now you do your job for 30 minutes and leave. You get paid the same. In fact, even more. For 30 minutes of work versus 8 hours. Which life would you rather have? How do you think that someone in an ownership position can now be home with the kids? How can you see a man going to a library book reading that I did the other week, okay? About a month or two ago when our library was having the story time for our kids, I was the only man there. Every other one was a stay-at-home woman. Okay, because I had the time at 10 a.m. to be able to do that. Most men do not. Okay, but I was. Thank the Lord for all that He's done for me, and be able to have that time with my kids. It's very, very key for you, regardless of what life you want to have, to be able to have that time freedom. Okay, because God's got a lot of great things for you to do with your life. He wants you to spend enough of it working, reaping the rewards, and then going off and doing what He's called you to do, whatever that is. And some of you are called to the business realm, and that's what I want to focus on, because again, we talk about the entire Bible here. We do, from start to finish. Every single financial blessing in the Bible we talk about, no matter what it is. Every single financial law in the Bible we talk about here, regardless of what it is. And hopefully one of the reasons why I like doing this is because as a businessman and not a minister, I can talk about that and have it relate to you significantly better than if I was a minister. Okay? Because if somebody walks up to a minister and says, "Thank you for that word from the Lord. It really helped me get over some addiction that I had. I want to bless you financially," and just hand them a check. And that happens to a lot of ministers. And that's a good thing, because they're representative of the God who lives on streets paved with gold. But is that going to happen if you're a plumber? No. Your harvest is going to come very differently from the seeds you sow. It is. And we talk about that here and how you're going to receive that. Okay? So one of the things that I like to do, another reason why we talk about the ownership economy, going back to savers versus spenders, is because the traditional way of getting out of debt and saving money and investing money is lay out all your expenses, lay out all your income, and especially if you're in a job, you know exactly what it is. It's never going to change. And you just do expenses, income minus expenses, save it. If you've got $36,000 in debt, you save $3,000 a month. Over 12 months, you'll be debt free. That's great. And it works on a spreadsheet. In real life, it's going to work very different. Okay? If you're a father of 3 and you and your wife, I was just thinking about this the other day because I was having a consultation with one of our team members about this. Okay? Do you know how many items are in the average Walmart? Think about this for a second. How many items are in the average Walmart? Just write it down. Put it in the chat. I want to see what you have. Okay? Gotcha. I literally would have no idea. I think 10,000 items. And sure, right? The answer is 120,000. The average Walmart has 120,000 items. Okay? Wait, what does this have to do with somebody who wants to get out of debt? Well, if you're a family of 5, a husband, a wife, and 3 kids, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go to Walmart, and if you're only going in there and you're in a strict budget and your strict list and you're only getting this, well, guess what's going to happen? You have to pass 120,000 items in Walmart. You alone. That means you have to say no 120,000 times every time you walk into a Walmart. And if you go with your wife, 240,000 no's. And you go with your kids, 600,000 no's. Now, what are the chances of that happening over a 12-month period? Nothing. Zero. So we have to do things a little bit differently. And especially 12 months from now, inflation is going to wipe away 10 to 12% of your income. Did you do anything about it? Those are questions we have to ask. Because the era of putting income minus expenses and just rolling it out for 12 or 18 months and planning on it, it's not very good. It's not. So that's why we do things different here. And how God wants you to act and behave financially is very different. So that's what we focus on here. And every time you come in here, we're going to give you specific skill sets, specific ways to do that. And hopefully today I've given you enough of an avenue to say, you know what? I'm going to go into a path where then I can, where when I get wisdom from God and he's going to help me increase my income, I'm going to reap the benefits. Okay? So hopefully that's where you are, because a lot of the times we get a lot of folks who, you know, they're looking for some entertainment during the working day. They need something in their ears, and I'm here for them. And that's awesome. Okay? But I also want you to understand that this is more than entertainment. This is more to make you feel good. I want to see you getting results too. I do. And that's why we do this here. That's why we do it. So that's what I want to focus on today, is just getting you in an ownership position and being in a position where God can send the rain on his land. And the only way you do that is having a labor or ownership position in here. And then you ask for the wisdom, because when we pray and we desire more money and more income, you don't go to God and say, I want more income. You don't. What you do is you pray for the things that will bring you the income. And I have a whole series on how to pray for more money. I do. And none of it is going to God and say, God, I need some money. Yeah, you and 8 billion people. Good luck with that. Okay? So that's why this is going to be a little bit different than most broadcasts you're ever going to find. Okay? So with that being said, hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully you got some different perspective. Hopefully you got some things that you can do right today. Again, the number one being, if you are an employee and you don't want to be one anymore, your next action step is to go to the 3-minute video on my YouTube channel called Stuck in Your Job, Here's How God Can Help. Okay? That's what we want to do. So if that's you, that's what I want you to do. Okay? But if you are in an ownership position, what I want you to do is focus on how you can get that skill set from 4 hours down to 2 hours down to 1 hour down to 30 minutes. Okay? The job that takes your competitor to do in 4 hours, you can do in 1 hour. Right? That's how God can really pour the wisdom on you when you're taking the risk, relying on him entirely, and saying, you know what? I have a desire to reach higher. I have a desire to reach higher. And you pray to him and you ask him for him and you believe with him for that increase. So with that being said, that's what I'm going to leave you with today, is how to get on that wisdom plus ownership equals next level. Because in order to get to your next level, you have to be in a leadership or ownership economy. I don't care what you're doing right now. I don't care if you're a doctor. There's a limit to how much you can make. And God has no limits. He doesn't. On your life. He doesn't. So with that being said, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to hearing your comments from emails. My email address that you can get to me is info@heavenlytreasury.com. It's in the comments below. Hopefully you've got something out of this. If you have any questions, go ahead and do that. We have a link to the book in the description below as well. You can buy it on barnesandnoble.com as we speak. Volume 1. Okay, Fear of the Lord. So with that being said, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you very, very shortly. Take care, everybody.